Hey, good morning, everybody. It's the bottom of the hour, and this is the continuation of Early Mornings LALATE, where the push is underway for executive orders from this president. Hashtag MSC. No one should be dependent upon the fake narrative that they have gotten from Nancy Pelosi. And ultimately, if we do see a deal announced within 48 hours, we shouldn't be focused on that. We should be focused on executive orders. Tonight's the presidential debate. New economic data will be released this morning. The new jobs list claims number, the new GDP numbers coming out, and new questions about how much money is floating into the Trump campaign or not. This is the bombshell, and this is a continuation of Early Mornings LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you're good and safe. This is the bottom of the hour on Early Mornings LALATE. The fun, lighthearted, just sort of carefree early morning show now on LALATE Daily. I really appreciate you for making this a really hit show. I think it's now becoming the most watched program on this channel along with Mornings LALATE. It has really been a lot of fun. If you're new to this channel, make sure you go in the front and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your dog, your cat, your llama. If the llama can subscribe, just, have them push with the hoof or the foot. What do llamas have? Do they have a foot? Well, the bacon's buttering. No, the bacon's not buttering. Dude, the bacon does not butter itself. The bacon's grilling, the butter's buttering, the toast is toasting, and the coffee's brewing. I'm here, you're here, and I really appreciate you for joining me on a great Thursday morning. It's really exciting. If you've not tuned in for another prior Early Mornings broadcast, this is an enhanced viewing experience. On the right is a live chat. Because this is an instant premiere, you're watching this for the very first time with the Purple Power family. So you can go to the right and live chat with your Purple Power buddies and super chat. It's a way to interact with one another, start the new morning, and say hello and meet new friends along the way who have the same sort of sentiment and enjoyment as you as well. So go to the front of the chat of the video and chat, and you can also drop comments below, and I will be going over some of your comments in this video. A lot of excitement, and let's go over what this video will be covering today. In this video, I will be going over the push of the Purple Power for executive orders amid a lot of talk of Nancy and Steve. What I want is for viewers of this channel to remain on focus, to remain on script about the push for executive orders, because ultimately what Nancy may be doing is trying to work against the president, not in favor of him. More about that in a second, how that works. Second, tonight's the presidential debate, and all eyes are on the president to get an executive policy out that is clear about the economy. He's not done it. In a time in which he's focused more on laptops and Hunter Biden, he has yet to delineate a clear economic policy. An executive order would do that very clearly tonight or today. Third, the new jobless number is coming out today and is expected to be poor again. With that type of element, there's more even reason than ever for this president to do executive orders, because remember what Senator Harris's benchmark was: as soon as the jobless number improves, the stimulus checks would fall off. Well, I don't think the number's going to improve today. All right, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news for Thursday morning is the jobless number is expected to be poor again. We're at the 30-something consecutive weeks since the pandemic started, and the jobless unemployment number is not good. This number is released every week. It details how many people are newly unemployed just in the last week. This excludes people who may have been unemployed before, got hired, and then went back on unemployment. The number has not been good. It's been over 800,000 for 20-something weeks, 30-something weeks. It was upwards in the million plus before, and has not improved. But on the other hand, the president may look to the gross national product, which we learned this week has improved dramatically. One of its sharpest increases ever. 30%. Now, that's a very good indication, but here's another bad indication about the economy, was the Federal Reserve's governor, not Jerome Powell, but a governor yesterday, said she's worried about a K-shaped recovery. In a K-shaped recovery, it means that the recovery after the lockdown has been given to the rich people and the poor people have gotten poorer. Rich have gotten richer and poor have gotten poorer. So as we start here this morning, the renewed focus is for hashtag MSC, executive orders. It's important to understand that in a day like yesterday, where I had a lot of recordings covering Nancy saying this and Steve is saying that, and, you know, they're getting closer and then they're working on this deal provision, I can only say so much in a 20-minute video. And ultimately, when I finished the recordings, I thought I did not mention executive order enough in those videos. And I know someone's going to say, what happened to executive orders? They went, no, nothing happened to them. I just couldn't cover everything in the video. So today I want to remain more on script, as I may have gotten myself a little bit off of script. And I think that's what, I know that is what Nancy Pelosi is trying to do. Yesterday, Mitch McConnell spoke to his GOP leaders and said he still believes that Nancy Pelosi has an ulterior purpose in doing these stimulus negotiations at the 11th hour. Mitch McConnell's statements are not unique. These have been detailed in other news reports over the last 2 weeks. The way it works is two strokes of the sword. First, the reports claim that Nancy Pelosi is trying to focus the American people on stimulus and not Judge Barrett, so that ultimately when Judge Barrett gets confirmed and the Republicans claim a big win, Nancy Pelosi will have overshadowed it by focusing on stimulus. That's apparently already working. 63% of Americans in a new CNBC poll says we should be talking about stimulus, not Judge Barrett. The other side of the sword is that Nancy Pelosi may have absolutely categorically no desire to get a vote on the stimulus, and that what she's trying to do is erode Republicans to fight against each other, to make them look like they're at odds, to pitch the president versus Mitch, and then ultimately go in the polls and look, say, hey, we're reunited, they're just a hot mess. And that may be the case. And so what's important for executive orders is we have nothing to do with all that mess. We ignore all that mess. It's just us and the president, us and Mark Meadows, us and Steve Mnuchin. Get the stimulus out, Mr. President. $800 billion unaccounted for, unused from the first and third stimulus packages, CARES Act 1. This was PPP money for a program that was not highly used. And the program expired. The money's still sitting there. It's not in Treasury. It's in SBA. And the president can and should repurpose the money for purposes of 2 rounds of stimulus checks and FPUC. How does this work? It works the same way the president has done it before. He did in the case of LWA, Enhanced Unemployment Benefits, using money from FEMA. It's just, I can't even say it with a straight face. Fire and rescue and tornado and natural disaster money was used for your enhanced unemployment benefits. It was a big success. No one challenged it legally, and he went ahead and did it. And states, both blue states and red states, agreed to it and loved it. Ultimately, it was a big hit. The president needs to do the same with stimulus. $800 billion sitting around. It'll account for 2 rounds of $2,000 checks to all adults, this and children. It's absolutely categorically needed. It costs about $300 billion to do 1 round. 2 rounds of $600 billion, about $800 billion total. So you have about $200 billion left. And that $200 billion can be used for a new round of FPUC to cover us for a few weeks into the fall. So simple. Next, hashtag seats for stimulus. Seats for stimulus is really heating up, and it should heat up this Thursday morning because these congressional leaders, as some of the viewers are really getting very sophisticated on this channel because of my educational recordings, is that they're understanding that these political leaders are trying to look like they're working, look like they're doing something, laboring to the middle of the night. It's just, I'm just so exhausted for all the incredible work I'm serving the American people. Ultimately, they're trying to do a dog and pony show because they haven't done anything and they don't have anything. And ultimately, seats for stimulus should not be unchanged. You should vote out the incumbents because they haven't given you a law. All they've given you is a lot of talk. And that's what seats for stimulus always was. If you don't give us a stimulus in our hands, we don't have it in our hands, then we're voting you out. And what Nancy Pelosi has really done over the last 2 weeks is really, with press statements every 2 minutes and appearing on every single broadcast channel every 3 hours, she has literally made herself the entire focus of the entire country and has literally commandeered the collective focus of the entire nation. And she's done a very good job at it. This is a person who no less than 3 weeks ago was called as being lazy, not working on the stimulus, wanting to go home and wanting to just focus on campaigning. And then she was made a mockery by CNN when she appeared on Wolf Blitzer. And now she's trying to turn the tide and say, I'm the one who's working really hard. And ultimately, that shouldn't concern us, because Seeds for Stimulus is not about working. It's about getting. It's about you getting money. And if you don't get the money, then they should be gone. Next, tonight's the presidential debate. And the presidential debate will be categorically important, hopefully. I roll my eyes, I give a little side eye, hopefully, that these people talk about some economics. I don't want to talk about fracking. I've heard enough about fracking to last a lifetime. I've heard enough about your son and your daughter and his daughter. Can we focus on the economy? The number one issue that Americans are wanting to hear about going into the polls is the economy after COVID-19, but the economy is the more unclear subject matter. They want answers. As we sit here tonight, and we sit here tomorrow morning, we sit here this weekend, we continually get no answers from these people. What's going on? Joe Biden has said he'll raise taxes to pay for stimulus. Okay, Joe, what's the stimulus? Joe, okay. Mr. President, how much stimulus are you going to give you? I'm going to give you more than Nancy's giving you. Well, you're not higher than Nancy. Nancy's 2.2 trillion. How much are you going to give? More than Nancy's going to give you. Well, just how much are you going to give us? How much is stimulus check? Mark Meadows. More additional money. How much is that? How much is stimulus? Well, more. How much of generous is... Boy, these people have problems with numbers. I can remember back in the day, I'm not going to try to date myself, but, there have been other presidents before these that were accused of not being up to date and sometimes sleepy themselves, but they knew numbers, and you would ask them a number, and they're like, 22, 64, 75. These two people just don't talk about numbers, nor does Nancy Pelosi. And so as we go into tonight's presidential debate, this is a time more than ever that the president needs to get on message about executive orders. Need to get on message about sending out stimulus checks, because if he doesn't, how's he going to win? The numbers across the country are not good for this president. In polls across the country, when asked about economic policy, for the first time ever, this president, who brought the country to its best unemployment levels before the pandemic, really did some good stuff before the pandemic economically, is now behind in the polls when asked about who do you favor to deal with the economy, Biden or Trump. Trump is behind. The reason why is because his campaign team has not been able to get the president on message about economics and stimulus and focus on scandals like laptops and Giuliani and Borat and all that type of stuff. And that's why tonight is so important. There is about 2 weeks left in this campaign, and in 2 weeks you can do a lot of stuff. You can send out stimulus checks, you can send out FPUC, you can show that you have plotted a plan to get from here to there for this economy. Ultimately, if the president goes into the debate tonight and says, I've done great stuff before, and in the past I've done some good stuff, in the past I've helped you, and in the past I've done something, he's not going to get reelected, because that doesn't answer the question. Nor does Joe Biden's attempt to answer the question that we're just going to, figure it out. just the big question, of course, going into tonight's debate is, how are you paying for the stimulus? President Trump doesn't really consider that an issue. We just pay for it. We go bigger and bolder, based upon the comments of Jerome Powell. Says the more stimulus you pay, the quicker the economy rebounds. Joe Biden is very concerned about that, ironically, which is sort of that's almost like a Republican hawk, deficit hawk. But Joe Biden's concerned about spending for stimulus. So what he wants to do is raise people's taxes. As you sit here today, I don't want to go, this is not turning into a political coverage of who's better or that or this. What I want to say is that you need to have clarity from this president on what he's going to do for your stimulus in the next 14, 13, 12, 11 days. He can do executive orders. He needs to be pushed to do executive orders. And finally, why is Nancy Pelosi not to be trusted for stimulus? There's a lot of reports that say Nancy Pelosi is trying to cause infighting among the Republicans and cause them off message, trying to distract anything from Judge Barrett, and to ultimately has no intention of getting the bill to law. What you're going to see over today's recordings of this channel is I'll explain to you repeatedly that a deal that comes in 48 hours is not a law, and that even the vote for the law is very uncertain because we don't know when these people would vote for it, if it's before the election, if it's after the election, or if it's after the inauguration, and that any deal is really much of nothing because ultimately those people you're making a deal with may not be around in a few weeks from now. Let me get to some incredible questions from yesterday morning. Joanne Hurst, good morning, LALATE, and all the purple. Let's say a prayer for each other. Earl Truman, they should spend all day getting this deal together. Angela, they need to go away and get it done. Patrick Spicer, stimulus checks, anyone? Sure would be good to send it out if we actually get one. Here's to hoping something transpires. Purple power rules. I love your comment, Patrick. Deborah Eliza, you would think they would get it done considering the virus numbers lately, but we could be heading for another lockdown. I haven't covered that today and yesterday, but I did a few days ago. Boy, these stimulus checks that you're due now are for everything up to now. Imagine these nincompoops in Congress thinking that what they're sending you now is going to help you if there's another lockdown. Oh, no. Oh, no. This is to pay for what we've suffered so far. You need to be doing another stimulus package, the third stimulus package, which I'm here for. I'm going to be segueing this channel into the third stimulus package right away because that lockdown is coming. Oyster Cracker, that's because they don't have to work like we do during the pandemic, William Morris. And by the way, a lot of people are waking up with no toast or butter. You provide such a demeanor that can bring me out of the doldrums. Debbie Brigham, you provide such a demeanor that can bring me out of the doldrums. Just listen to the light comedy you insert into your broadcast. I need this to get to the right day for my day. Thank you so much, Purple Power. I do, and I forgot to introduce the corn. The corn is here too, says. The corn appreciates all my humor. It's just, it has all ears. It listens really carefully. Charles Gettings, Jesus, please lead them to sign the deal. I hope Jesus leads them to sign the deal and washes his hands afterwards because if he's touching some of these congressional leaders. Andrea Hughes, God bless America, and we need that blessing money. Yes, amen. G2 Trader, could we ever have imagined the politics was more important, powerful, and important suffering for Americans? It's really horrible. It is horrible. I hope no one forgets what has happened here. And what I'm deeply concerned about is that while myself and other people are talking about what you've endured, broadcast media is really not covering this. They're acting as though everyone's rich and everyone's driving around in Bentleys and everything's so punky-dory, and they're really not covering the misery of American people. Daryl Granger, time to stroke the executive order, Mr. President. I don't know if stroke is the right word. This is a family channel. Thomas Witchkirk. Things shouldn't expire in January. They should expire at the end of March. I love that, Thomas, because they have to do the budget for the next 6 months. That makes more sense than expire a month before nothing gets done. I love that. It's a great comment. Thank you. Tammy Anderson. No coffee. It's pink lemonade this morning. Ooh, I love pink lemonade. Good morning, LA and Purple Power family. Today's going to be great. It is going to be great. I really appreciate you for joining in. I appreciate you for chatting on the ride and experiencing this enhanced experience with a live chat instant premiere. It's a lot of fun for me, and I'm sure it's a lot of fun for you. I've seen the numbers, and I hope you stay with me for 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time from morning to LALATE. I will have big developments. We'll have those unemployment numbers. We'll have a lot more that is coming across the wire. I even going into taping this morning, I saw a lot of stuff that's just hitting this morning in the next 2 hours. So stay with me this Thursday morning as a lot of stuff is hitting. And as always, go to the front of this channel, subscribe because, this is the community to be with. Also hit the alert button so you get alert when a new video goes live so you don't miss any of the videos in a given day. Also, like this video. Coming up next, of course, is Mornings LALATE at 8:30 a.m., the original hit show of this channel. So tune in for that. And as always, stay informed, stay smiling, and save LA for more.